Welcome to the Unschooling Lifestyle. This is a pivotal and exciting solo episode where I reflect on our journey, one that began back in 2020 and has been life-changing. In the early days, I immersed myself in the philosophy of unschooling play and anything that fostered ease and a true partnership with my children. But nothing helped me integrate those ideas into my daily life quite like human design, or HD for short. As we enter our fifth year of advocating for connection over curriculum, I've dedicated time and resources to learning HD and supporting families in transforming their lives. This episode highlights some of our biggest breakthroughs with human design, and in the coming weeks, we'll hear from unschooling parents who have successfully integrated human design into their lives. You'll gain practical insights to start your own journey, trust in your children, and most importantly, trust in yourself. I'll first share about my personal breakthroughs, followed by some relationship insights, and later some of the breakthroughs in our journey as parents and how human design has given ease to our family rhythms. Let's dive in. I first discovered human design through my advocacy and mentorship program with Dana Martin. And I happened to be with the fabulous Ilka and Liv from the Awakened Parent to initiate me, as I kept wondering what in the world were they talking about when they mentioned that Liv is a reflector and that Ilka is a generator. So the first stop was to learn about my type, and I pulled my chart. I realized that I am a 4-6 emotional manifesting generator. And don't worry about it. I will share bits and pieces of what that means throughout this series. Learning and understanding my energy as a manifesting generator was crucial. It was a big breakthrough because as a manifesting generator, I have a multi-passionate energy that thrives on variety. Instead of seeing this as being unreliable or unable to finish projects, human design gave me a positive framework to embrace my natural way of working, learning, and pivoting when necessary. I cannot stress enough how huge this was. I literally had tears when I was able to shift my mindset. And it is truly something that continues on giving because I have seen the biggest benefits when I release projects that no longer excite me. Then I learned about my strategy and authority. And strategy is about how to find ease into the road of life and how to be more in alignment with yourself. Authority is about how we make decisions. For me, as a manifesting generator, I am waiting to respond to different things, questions, ads, you name it. And then I get to feel whether I'm excited or not. As my authority is an emotional wave, I have learned very hard lessons by not waiting for the emotional wave to go through me. The third piece that has made a difference for me is navigating my open identity center. And this continues to be a work in progress because as a manifesting generator and out into the world, I felt a lot of pressure from trying to figure out my path. But my open identity means that my gift is adaptability. Pivoting when something no longer aligns instead of forcing myself to stick with it has been a life-changing because I know that the right opportunity will come if I'm just open to it. When I get stuck in trying to know and trying to find the right path, make the right decision, it feels so stressful because it's almost like I'm driving on a road and it is super foggy where you cannot see anything. And I feel like if I just keep on stressing to try to find out what's beyond the fog, I just can't make it. Those pieces, my type as a manifest generator, my strategy and authority to respond and to wait for the emotional wave and to be open to what comes to me and not really get stuck on trying to fit myself into just one box. I am really meant to be in a lot of boxes, in a lot of things, but they all really have a common theme. And I have seen that as I continue on my journey as a family advocate, a time advocate, and much more of my work of sharing with people how to shift into a life of alignment, especially as you go through life in partnership with your children. Some of the breakthroughs as far as my relationship with my husband have been really, really important. My husband and I have been together since 2006, and human design has deepened our understanding for each other. Recognizing that we both have a multi-passionate energy has been, again, I cannot tell you how life-saving that was, because we are now honoring the time that we both need to explore different projects. We never were tied to just one project, and we never really put pressure on each other, but I feel like there's more support from each other to explore and to pivot and to honor that sacred response to something new, or to honor the lack of response to something that we're already working on, right? So we just kind of move on and support each other, however that looks like in the adulting world. The next breakthrough, and this is huge too, but understanding our need for independence. Oh boy, this is important because a lot of us, and generally speaking, the world doesn't really allow for people to be alone or to be comfortable being alone. And as a flight attendant in the aviation industry for the last 20 years, without my job and my trips, I don't know that my husband and I would be here together. And this is a huge part of who we are and a huge part of how we made our life work. For a relationship, it felt powerful to keep honoring that need for independence and not necessarily thinking that there's something wrong with the other person or with a relationship, but just rather honoring that need for time alone. And as I said, many people are uncomfortable being alone. It's not the same as being lonely, but navigating those moments when we are really in need of alone time without thinking that there's something wrong has been really powerful. The next thing, as far as a relationship goes, is the power of knowing our profiles. So in human design, whenever you pull your chart, it looks a little complicated, but it isn't. And we'll explore that a little bit deeper, and then we'll have more resources. Essentially, they are the planets, like they are in astrology, and they have numbers, which are gates. And then there's a decimal that line. There are 6 lines in human design. Your combination will make a profile, which is like a fraction looking number. I find it a fabulous piece to navigate life and kind of see how that shows up and experiment with it. So it's how it reflects how we interact with the world. And my husband and I, we both have a line 6. What that means is that, and it's a general way of seeing a specific theme in our lives, which is 3 phases. From 0 to 30, we experiment and we learn from direct experiences. And then from 30 to 50, we reflect and we integrate those experiences. And that phase is called being on the roof. And beyond 50, we step into a role model position. We share the wisdom from our experiences and our reflections and how we learn, how we navigated different situations and all of that stuff. Those phases are really interesting though, because currently my husband just turned 50, so he is off the roof and I am on the roof. So I am seeing the broader picture, and that's why you'll see and you'll hear probably a lot more like reflections in how we navigated some of the harder times that we have had as we transition into unschooling, world schooling. We have changed how we do like our money and our travels and what's important to us. So there's a lot of a movement still, but there's also a lot of reflection within the movement that we have done. So in the next couple of years, you'll see more and more as I integrate everything that we have been through. For me as a flight attendant, being out into the world and then into this world of alternative education and human design and redefining what learning looks like for us. Since 2021, this insight has given us a deeper appreciation for our growth and why our past experiences were necessary stepping stones. I mean, incredible.
Hey there, I'm Anthony, and I'm excited to tell you all about the Alternative Education Resource Organization Conference this year in New Hampshire. It's all about self-directed education where kids can learn in ways that make sense to us. At the Aero Conference, families can be awesome advocates and connect with others who believe learning should be fun. There will be games, workshops, and new friends to make. So bring your whole family and join us. Let's support our unique learning adventures together. You can register at www.aeroconference.org. See you there.
The breakthroughs in our unschooling journey as far as being parents and post COVID, you could say from our family life, is that when I first pulled the charts, I realized how often I had unintentionally dismissed their natural learning styles. Now, I can now reflect back in the beginning of our homeschooling journey back in 2020, and I knew that I was doing that, and we were seeing the frustration because I was using a lot of curriculum. And my oldest son, is a 1-3 profile, that little fraction looking number. And what that means is like a double style of learning, but it's very hands-on. And that was huge. So as I learned human design, I could pinpoint back in our life how that was showing up and how much I was going from my own conditioning and how much I was ignoring their own process. So my oldest thrives on that double learning process, combining deep research with hands-on trial and error. Understanding this allowed me to respect his need to fully immerse in a topic rather than rushing through lessons. Oh, Dios mío. This was huge because as a manifesting generator, I moved pretty quickly from one topic to the next. And I was not giving my son enough time to navigate the topics that he was interested in, right? I had this days mapped out for us, like language arts in the morning, math after lunch, and art in between or something. And it didn't really allow for him to fully get what he needed from each subject and to decide whether that was for him or not. So, but I was here in my busy bee model. I just was trying to hit all the boxes, and that wasn't what he needed. So, the next breakthrough as far as parenting and being an unschooling parent, I realized that my younger son is a quad right brain. We will talk about this because I find this to be really interesting. In human design, the variables, the arrows, it's not necessarily the first piece that people will go into because as adults, most of us have been living out of alignment one way or another. So it doesn't really show up right away. However, I find that for children, it is important to know this because generally speaking, children, even maybe in the younger years, if they haven't been conditioned too much, they will share this part of them with everyone in the world. Realizing that my younger son is a quad right brain was a big discovery because I am mostly quad left. And again, as I said, most of the people do not go into the variables right away, but I find that important. For my son, sometimes if he's trying to tell me something, I will listen, or if I can listen, and if I tell him to wait or just hold on a second, it literally goes out of his brain, like it doesn't come back. My younger son's quad right design means that he processes information in a fluid, intuitive way, needing uninterrupted space to integrate ideas. This really helped us reframe his frequent interruptions and not as distractions, but as his way of holding on to thoughts before they disappear. This is so, 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 so true. So, like I said, the variables is not the first piece that I would normally go into with a lot of people, but I feel like it's okay to go in with, when you have a child that is fully quad right or fully quad left. I am a tri left person. And what that means is that I really thrive in processes. I have to have a process. And I've been experimenting with this more and more, especially with a podcast, with a blog, all of those pieces. So it's really, really fascinating. And more to come on that, of course. And the last piece I'll share as far as the boys and how it has helped our journey is managing emotional energy in our home. Dios mío. This is big again. I feel again, I know I keep saying that, but it truly is though. This is important because if you pull your chart, you will see shapes. You will see some squares, some triangles, and maybe a heart. But those shapes are either white or shaded. And what that means is when they're white, they receive and amplify information. And when they're shaded, they send out information. If we concentrate on the emotional solar plexus about our emotions, I send out emotions. My boys receive and amplify emotions. I think the first couple of episodes that we did back maybe about a year and a half ago about human design was about this piece because I realized that my emotional wave can be very low. And it can be very low for no reason. However, if I am around them, I send out this low emotional wave and they receive that and they amplify that. So, how that has looked like for me is to realize that my emotional waves come and go. They don't necessarily stay, but I also have set boundaries nowadays to understand how to not impact the rest of my family. I can tell you that this has been a journey. There are times where I just literally will just cry for no reason. And I don't know why I'm crying. There are no reasons for me to be sad or anything at all. But I have embraced this part of me that has deep, deep, deep emotions. And some of them are very low. They're very melancholy. And there's usually a cycle of them. And when that comes, I usually will just go to bed. They usually just come at night, after a very long day. So I am experimenting as far as like my body, my diet and all of that stuff. But still, I just remove myself from the environment because sometimes if I don't, I can get just snappy, and for no reason, right? So it's just managing my own emotions in my own process so I don't impact other people for no reason. Everyone has a different authority. Some people have a sacral authority, so there's a lot of pieces, but this is just some information that I share in the next coming weeks with this podcast series. This podcast series matters because, as you can see, like human design has given us kinder language to embrace our unique strengths rather than trying to fix ourselves to fit traditional models. My journey continues as I take courses in human design and nervous system regulation, deepening my understanding of how we can support our children's natural learning. This is why I'm so excited about this series. Over the next few weeks and the next few months, we'll hear from unschooling parents of all human design types. They will share their experiences, their challenges, and their practical tips. If you haven't already, we have added a link to pull your chart and your children's charts. And the links will be available for you. And if you choose to purchase talking charts or other guides through our affiliate links, it really helps support this podcast at no extra cost to you. I am so excited about this series. I cannot tell you. It's been in the making for quite a while. I am so grateful that you're here. Thank you for listening. If you found this episode helpful, please leave a review and share with others. Let's spread the message that life isn't meant to be hard. Your time is precious. I hope you're making it count. See you next time.